Welcome to Magdi-AI Tutorials. I'm your host, Maggie, and I'm here to help you make the most of Magdi-AI, your software quality assurance assistant. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the agent MagdiAnalyzer, the test results analyzer. So let's click the button and enter the chat view. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to upload a test results file. You can find this test results file in the examples folder located in the URL that is listed in the description below. The GitHub project contains a number of examples you can use to kind of play around with Magdi-AI. And I'm simply going to tell it to analyze the results. So the reason why I created MagdiAnalyzer is I was thinking of the manual QA test engineers who are often asked to execute automated tests that are developed by test automation engineers, and they're looking to look through the test results and sort of determine when something has failed, what's the reason behind the failure. And for a lot of test automation engineers who are not very technical, a lot of times they find to be a bit challenging. So, upon analysis, we get a summarized version of the test results document. Basically, it's regurgitated information from the test results that are extracted from the test results document. The thing that's most interesting is not so much how it summarizes or titles it, but a summary of the test cases that failed. When you look through the failed test, you can see that it identifies the test by ID, what the description is, other information related to the test, and most importantly, what type of failure it is. So you can see that it's a logic error, a test logic. When you come down to number two, it identifies it as a UI logic, which is a test logic. That basically means that the test did not return the expected results. And then finally, on the third one, you can see that it's an automation failure, detecting that it's an automation bug. That is the main thing that MagdiAnalyzer assists QA test engineers with. It helps them quickly identify the reasons behind the failure to optimize their time in repeating tests and double checking if the test actually failed. Is it being flaky, or is there something to actually report? So in this particular case, a QA engineer would definitely retest test IDs 1 and 2. That makes sense. But for test number 3, because it's detecting that it's an automation bug, it could be an automation bug because there's a flaw in the code, or it can be due to flakiness because of timing issues interacting with an element. Either way, it's something you can immediately report to the test automation team or the engineer that you're working with and have them investigated. To me, that helps them save a little bit of time in retesting failed tests. The one thing we also want to do with our test automation test runs is to support the QA test engineer by giving them tests that they can rely on. A lot of times they are hesitant to use test automation because of the flakiness of the test, and they feel like, oh, I can manually test this faster and get more reliable results. So we want to strive to offer them very reliable test automation test runs. And we also want to make sure that they can comprehend the results that are provided to them at the end of the test run. So Magdi AI can help facilitate that if it's not very clear. So let's look at a second example. So what we want to do is ask Magdi AI to analyze the following results. So I'm going to copy and paste a stack trace log in the message input box. And this comes from a PyTest run and this PyTest run reflects a group of unit tests that were executed. And so there are failures. So what we want to do is have Magdi AI help us analyze these logs. One of the things that I noticed again with manual QA test engineers is due to the lack of their technical expertise, the stack trace log can be a little bit challenging to interrogate. To be honest with you, even I find it a bit tedious. Yes, we can look through the log and we can see what failed. We can look through the log and we can see what the errors are or what the warnings are. But then when we're reading what actually failed, it's not always obvious why it failed. So Magdi AI actually looks through that log for us. We can actually copy the contents into a document and upload the document if we want. But it summarizes the report. It tells you the total number of test cases, and of course, when you're dealing with unit tests, a lot of times once it encounters a failure, it stops the run. So there's more tests, but it really focused on the number of tests captured in the test log and it highlighted which ones failed. And here it tells you, and it just gives it an arbitrary test ID and it tells you what the description is. And it says, this is what I expected, but this is what I actually got. It's an assertion failure and it's test logic. So, right there in the log, not only did it assist us in reading the log a lot faster than if we read the log ourselves manually, but it helps us sort of sort through that stack trace, find the failure, and identify the issue with the failure. So we can then turn around and either retest to double check if it actually failed, but we can also report the issue and we can use this information when we're reporting. We can just simply copy and paste and say, hey, here's the information on why this test failed. So I hope this helps. I'm going to click the back button. And I really appreciate you taking time and check out MagdiAnalyzer, who can help you simplify the analysis of test reports to help make your job easier. Thank you.